Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? It's your boy Ghoul, and welcome back to the Hidden Hueco Academy podcast, aka the HHA. And we are back for episode 6 to talk about a lot of gaming news that's been going on in the atmosphere lately. Today we have our co-hosts and founders. If you can go ahead and introduce yourself. Well, actually, we're missing one. Frosty isn't able to join us today, but go ahead and introduce yourself, Hollow.
What's going on, y'all? You already know me from the previous episodes, Diabolic Hollow. Sadly, Frosty, I think, lost his voice, so he couldn't join us tonight. But we do have brought on a homie.
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead.
Yes, sir. We got a homie in the podcast today. We have a special guest here on the show. He is a brother of the HHA Alliance and self-proclaimed Halo vet. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hey,
What do you want to be known
I'm
as,
the
sir?
homie. I go by many aliases, known as Mac Tier on the streets, Crackosaurus Rex in the sheets,
Yes,
and
sir.
yeah, he's right. I played a just fuck ton of Halo growing up. I play a lot of video games, read a lot about video games, and when the other homies that you already know about asked me to get on, I said, yeah, homie, I'll get on and talk about this shit. So here I am.
And somehow, within the first 2 minutes of the episode, we have snuck in another Halo reference in the sixth consecutive episode.
Does he not? Do you not
literally
consider yourself a Halo vet, sir? I'm pretty sure you said that.
Who, me?
No, my man Mac, bro. No response? Okay.
What?
You didn't
Were
hear
you
my whole
talking to him
intro?
or
You ain't paying attention. I'm
was
talking to
zoning
you,
out.
dude. Oh my god.
I was watching the pretty lights and Audacity down as I talked.
Wow,
Oh my
a
God.
top tier podcast.
You
Oh,
can tell we're professionals.
right.
100%.
And before we get into today's topics, which are actually going to be very heavily gaming focused, before we get into today's topics, I just want to give a shout out to all 10 subscribers that have been listening in on the podcast. No matter what number we have, we appreciate the support and just, trying something new here, and just really appreciate you guys checking it out and liking what we put out.
Yes, sir.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Yes. Alright, but enough of that bullshit. December 10th. The
Big day.
VGAs, Video Game Awards. Video Game Awards was December 10th.
God damn, that was like 3 weeks ago now.
Yep, we were a little behind from the last
Yeah.
podcast, so things are a little delayed, but this looks like the last podcast before the new year, so I guess we're just gonna get everything out in the open as our 2020 podcast.
The final 2020 podcast.
Yes, sir. So we're gonna cover as much as we can that's leading up to the end of this year. Getting back on the main topic, VGAs. We're gonna run through some of these announcements here. Some little tidbits that if you watch the award show, you would know about, and just things that are circulating on the interwebs right now. We got Sephiroth and Smash. How do you guys feel about that? Did you see that reveal trailer?
Oh, dude, I was hyped.
I thought that was pretty cool. I've never even really played that much Final Fantasy, but AKs, I'm sure you've stuffed that shit down my throat. In a good way. Over the years, you've kind of exposed me to those games and shit, so I vaguely know who Sephiroth is. I know he's a kind of a badass in the lore, so I know a lot of people freaked out about
Oh yeah,
that.
he's like evil. Like he wants
Yeah.
to like blow the planet up,
Yeah.
kind of evil.
So,
Yeah, Sephiroth was a bad motherfucker, so
yeah, I know he
Yeah,
killed
it's-
what's her face.
Oh yeah, Aerith. Spoiler alert for a game that's 20 years old,
Yeah.
but
What's her,
he,
yeah, my bad.
he kills Aerith. No,
by
okay.
that,
Yeah,
I
Final
think
Fantasy
statute of
VII.
limitations doesn't.
Yeah. There's only so long, you know what I'm saying? So
I'd be one of those motherfuckers that gets mad. I legit wait like 10 years before playing a game. Sometimes.
I saw the trailer. I saw the reveal. I think me and Hollow were both watching it live. And oh wait, I think I actually missed the reveal for Sephiroth, but I came into the VGAs late, and you told me about it in the Discord, and I went ahead and peeped that. But it was cool. I'm not a fan of Sephiroth. I'm sorry.
Damn.
Duh, I'm a fan of
I was about to
Sephiroth.
say.
I'm not a fan of Smash, but I am a fan of Sephiroth. And oh my god, this trailer was unholy bliss to the max. Motherfucking music starts playing. Cloud looks up.
You could tell, bro.
You could tell shit was going down, boy.
Yeah, Sakurai loved Advent Children, bro. That whole trailer was a like direct love story to Advent Children.
Fucking Kirby's ass got blown back by the fucking swoop of his sword. The shit was fucking crazy, bro. Fucking ridiculous. Fucking Sephiroth and Smash. Yeah, so
I don't even know much about him, but even seeing him, I almost wanted to play Smash, but I don't have it.
Just watch a breakdown. Just watch a breakdown. If you Final Fantasy 7 breakdown, if you play Kingdom Hearts, like Kingdom Hearts 1,
yeah, I think I do remember him in that. It was long.
Yeah, he's like a secret boss in the I think 1 and 2.
Imagine that as just like him, but like 10 times harder in the
like the main focal
Final Fantasy series. Yeah.
I was gonna say, if you want to see some Sephiroth gameplay, shameless plug, I do have a video on the channel.
Oh, okay. Check that.
Right. Where can they find you?
But yeah, so by now he's already been out in Smash. It's been about a week since his release. I did get to play. I actually played a lot with him last weekend over at a homie's house. I brought my Switch over and we like 4-person smashed it. He's a lot of fun, but he is a lot slower than you would think he would be as a sword character. He's kind of heavy, but he's definitely kind of OP, like low key. His sword is just super long.
I noticed you have to have timing with him. Like, he's not just like throwing slashes everywhere.
No, yeah, you definitely. There's a rhythm to how Sephiroth works in the game.
Yeah, I do like the fucking. I did see this one. I don't know what input it is, but he pretty much like pulls back and uses like an explosion, magic.
Oh yeah, that's his neutral B.
Okay, yeah, that shit's fucking.
Yeah, you can charge it and it gets like into a bigger explosion. It's pretty nasty.
Yeah, that shit's fucking wild. In other news, let me just go down the list here and someone say something if they find something interesting, because we do have a lot of topics surrounding the VGA. So we have more announcements where Nier Automata. I thought Frosty would be more into this, but this was like version 1.22474.
Really
asshole.
It's a big update, basically.
Yeah, some big ass update. I don't really give a fuck about. So, all right, so if you
I only played Nier Automata for a little bit. It was okay. I might have to replay it to maybe get a different opinion, but I wasn't too big into it.
Yeah, I did have one friend that played it, and I'm not really too big into JRPGs. I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for that, but
it's not really a JRPG. I don't think. I think it's more of like a hack and slash.
It's a hack and it's a action adventure hack and slash.
Okay.
It's not an open world, it's sandbox, but it's like action adventure, like deeper meaning of life type shit.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. So
if Frosty was here, he would be able to explain it better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think that was like one of his games of the year or something. Like he really likes what's her name, 2B or whatever. So
2B, yeah.
Yeah. So That's cool. Moving on. This is really cool. Ghosts and Goblins. They were bringing that back. Thought that was really dope. Arc. They had Vin Diesel looking like a fucking fool on
I
stage.
did want to talk about Ark. So
That
I,
shit.
I
Hold on. Before you get into it, did that, bro? I can't be the only person that was literally laughing my ass off when they were showing that reveal.
it was a bit funny seeing
Oh
Vin
yeah.
Diesel, you
It's
know,
so
just in that kind of
weird.
setting.
It's so
Um,
weird. It's just
just
so
I don't
weird.
know. Yeah, he was kind of the
So out
last
of
person I
place.
expected to be
Yeah.
involved in that kind of project. But what was interesting to me was so I've played Ark on the Xbox One X, and I haven't done a whole lot as far as like joining other players' lobbies. There's a whole bunch of crazy shit you can do once you start getting invested in that community or the communities surrounding it, I guess, with like the base building and all the tech, like the tech trees and shit, and all the crazy shit you can build, and all the just insane stuff you can do.
Right.
But I do really like that game. To be fair, though, to be honest, it's mainly just been like me and a couple guys going in and just doing our own thing, just on our own private server. So when I saw that, I was more excited just about what the what the next rendition of that game is going to be. But I did think it was interesting. It was funny as hell for me to see because every time I see Vin Diesel now, I mean, he's just been so heavily associated with Fast and Furious. I kind of expected like a Camaro to like be dry, like fly through the trees, but like you know what I mean, just some crazy shit like
He
that.
gets chased by a T-Rex.
Yeah. So, but what I did think was interesting was supposedly, and I might have to fact check this, but I was reading on some articles, and he has claimed that he's put in over 1,000 hours, logged into the game, and not only is he providing an acting role or a voice acting role, but he's actually going in as an executive producer to the game, which I thought was interesting because I can't really think of anything else that he's been involved with as far as the video game industry. Besides, I know he was involved in like a Chronicles of Riddick video game some years ago, but I'm pretty sure that was just like an acting role. I don't think he was on the development side of things. But as far as the art game, though, I'm fucking hyped. That shit is amazing. Like I can't even think of another game to compare it to. Really, the only thing I can think of, even though it doesn't really quite match it, just as far as gameplay, is I know AK, you and me have played The Forest together, which is kind of like a survival horror game. Getting different materials, crafting your base, and things like that. And that's the closest thing I can think of at the top of my head that compares to it, but it's just a lot more. I mean, I could go on and on about all the crazy shit and all the little incidents me and my buddies have found ourselves in, just trying to find a suitable place to build a base. And then all of a sudden, like a pack of dinosaurs just come in and decide it's theirs. The AI is pretty interesting in that game too, but and I'm really excited to see what it's going to be, especially since it's launching as an Xbox exclusive 2022.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's an Xbox Series. I don't know if it's coming to the One X as well, but I know for sure it's going to launch as an Xbox exclusive.
This is a new game, or is this like an
Ark
expansion?
2, no, this is
Oh,
a
this
new
is-
game.
there's
So
Ark
Ark
2.
Survival Evolved has had several expansions, and I'll be honest, I haven't gone in and played each one. But they are, in my opinion, they're at least the ones I've played it's pretty crazy shit. Like if you can, and this probably isn't the best way to put it, but if you can think of like Minecraft as far as like building shit up, going out, exploring, that kind of gameplay mixed with Jurassic Park and just everything is out there to kill you kind of thing. And you can also tame dinosaurs and things of that nature. there's
Damn, I
a
might have to peep it because it's on Game Pass and I've just
it
never
is
played
it
it.
is really fun. I will play that shit with you if you download it. Honestly, the only two gripes I have about that game is one, um, so when you make a character, it's only dedicated to one server. So for example, if you and me start a server and I'm the host, you can't play as the character that you made while you were playing with me unless I hosted the server and you joined in on it. It's hard to explain, but the only way you could like constantly log in and off if I'm not online is if we purchase like a private server or not, or, yeah, like purchase a
Oh, that's
server.
weird.
Yeah, so that was one thing I didn't really like about it, and I don't know if that's something that's going to change because obviously it was quote unquote. I mean, I don't know if it was ever broken, but the workaround is to just buy a server. So I don't know if that's something the developers would change. And also, the only other issue I had with the game was um, there's only a certain there's a certain distance that you're allowed to travel away from the host before you just essentially get rubber banded like back within the
Oh.
proximity of the host. So, but other than that, I mean, yeah, the controls can be a little wonky, or they take a little bit to get used to. It was released as an early access game when I started playing it, so I mean, I kind of went in knowing it wasn't going to be perfect and polished, but it's pretty wild. I can't. I'd have to talk to Paul
Oh
and
no.
Javier, or you can even ask them about some of the crazy shit we've seen and done playing Ark. It's one of those games that you go in and you just trying to survive. Y'all just end up just getting yourselves in all sorts of crazy situations. And what's cool too is obviously you can craft your own weapons, you can craft your own foundations, like when you start building your base and everything. And the weapons range from like stone axes and stone spears and such to automatic weapons. So
Oh,
there's a
damn.
big technology gap, not just in terms of weapons, but also in terms of everything you could do in your base as well. I could talk for hours about it, but I'm sure there's other things you want to bring up on the podcast. All in all, though, I'm really excited to see the more details about that shit. Vin Diesel, not
Right.
so much, just because I just I no hate against him, but I'm more interested in the game itself.
So I guess to close out, I just found it. A little update. I just found it on Game Pass. So if you have Xbox Game Pass, Ark Survival Evolved Explorers Edition is on Game Pass. And that includes the game and all the DLC season pass. And I believe it's also. I see the logo for the Series X, so I think it's optimized for the
Yep,
Series X. With
it is.
so I'm about to hit this install, and this is 100 GB, so this is gonna
It is
take
big.
a while.
It is big. And I think, just to give a little more clarification, I think each of the. I won't give a lot away as far as like the lore, because some of that's kind of exciting to figure out on your own. But I do know
Mhm.
each of the expansions is like a different map. So kind of like a different theme or
Oh.
setting, if you will. But I mean,
That's
all the
cool.
mechanics are about the same. So it's
Hell
definitely
yeah,
worth a
dude.
peep. If you like any kind of like survival, even I wouldn't classify it as horror, but it can be very tense at times. If you like anything like that, I definitely recommend.
Oh no,
at
I
least
like
giving it a
survival
shot.
games.
Yeah, and it does not hold your hand
All right.
at all. You'll get your ass fucked up if you get too curious, or if you get too careless.
I see. I see.
All
I can't wait
right.
to play it.
That was Ark. We got some good energy, good vibes coming from that near their title, except for Vin Diesel or whatever. But we'll see a couple more titles. Scarlet Nexus looks cool. It's gonna be a Switch exclusive, Switch and Xbox exclusive. No, that's an Xbox exclusive. Yeah, that should look
Xbox is stepping
clean.
it up, man.
Hold on,
Ever
wait, hold
since
on,
I
hold
Renewal
on.
told
proposed
you.
it,
Wait. Hold on.
Let me see. No,
Scroll.
hold
I say we
on.
as if I work with Microsoft. I'm just an Xbox fan.
No, it's not gonna be exclusive. It's
Oh,
coming out
okay,
on all
it's on all
consoles.
platforms. Okay.
Everything but the Switch.
Scarlet Nexus looks cool. It's an anime title. Not really sure what it's about, but it looks pretty cool. It reminds me of
Looks like Astral Chain.
Astral Chain. Yeah. So it looks cool. Um, here's a big one. Here's a big one. Here's a little big one. Towards the end, I don't want to say towards the end, but getting towards the latter part of the conference, they had a little something to heat up the fans with. A little bit of Mass Effect tease. A little bit of Mass Effect tease.
Man.
You know,
Not gonna lie.
I'm not big into Mass Effect. I know both of you guys are.
I
And,
fucking love Mass Effect. Mass
feel
Effect
free to talk
yeah.
about it. To put your 2 cents in real quick.
Well,
I'm hyped, dude. That as soon as I saw that trailer live, I got goosebumps because I was like, "What the fuck is this trailer about?" Like it was just showing like an ice planet or something. I was like, "Okay, is this gonna be like a space game or some shit?" And then you see her pick up an N7, and I was like, "Yo, no way!" After the tragedy that was Andromeda, we're gonna get
me started on
I
Like,
don't know what the fuck you nerds are talking about.
So, for
the
anyone,
last game.
for anyone that hasn't played any of the Mass Effect games, I feel like any fan of the series, especially of any BioWare RPG games, kind of herald the original Mass Effect trilogy, as in Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 3, as the best in Mass Effects. I mean, obviously that just was those were the only Mass Effect games, but how it was structured was the decisions you made in the first game affected.
Oh yeah, you could port your save over.
Yeah, that's the word I was trying.
You kept your same character and all the relationships, and if a character's died in one of the games, that character stays dead in all 3 games.
And
it's kind of cool.
It was really interesting because obviously a lot of the big decisions, I won't spoil anything, even though it's an old game. It is still something I feel like people can enjoy to this day for the first time. It's in another announcement as well was, I think, the Mass Effect Legendary Edition or Remaster.
Oh
or whatever.
my god!
Oh yeah,
So they're basically
we've been
remastering.
waiting for that.
Yeah, so I don't know
so long.
the extent of if it's just like a fresh coat of paint, like they're
No.
just
So
maybe
they're
upscaling it to 4K, or if they're actually.
No, I thought from what I was reading that they're actually like gonna work on the game to make it not only like look better but perform better.
The first thing they need, or the 2 things they need to do for me, in order for me to really want to go back, and because I've played the entire trilogy at least 5 times, like, and I mean the whole trilogy. Like, I've started a character, played it through 1, ported the save to 2 and 3. And for me, the 2 things I really want to see happen, 1, and of course, Mass Effect, the game that came out in 2007, 2008. It's just, old games, just the mechanics age after a while. But I would like to see some better combat mechanics.
So if I can chime in here, they did say, so a big part of this whole remaster thing is that they are giving updated graphics to all 3 titles. They are also fixing some of the clunkiness that was in the combat and I think facial animations.
Yeah, that was a major detriment.
Yeah, for the first Mass Effect, and then I guess they're also kind of like, I don't think they're affecting anything majorly with the story, but I think I think it's just like a big like technical overhaul.
Okay.
More so than like a.
Which it needs.
Yeah.
Something.
That's how you do a remaster. Is you not only do you just throw on updated graphics, but you actually go into the old game and like make it better.
You make it still fun to
worth
play
playing again.
day.
Yeah,
You don't want a shiny game, like a new pretty game that looks amazing that plays like something
the
15
old original.
Old. Yeah, or 13.
Like the Mario 3D All Stars, Nintendo.
Something else I would really, and this might just be shooting up a pipe dream, but something I really want to see, because in addition to the trilogy getting remastered, of course, y'all started off by saying there's just a new Mass Effect game coming out. I want to forget about Andromeda. Some people liked it. I'm not gonna hate on you if you liked it,
Ooh,
but I didn't
I
like it.
don't. It was forgettable. It was so
really
forgettable.
Was. It really was, and I gave it a shot. I really tried to like it. I couldn't get into it. But,
Dude, everything about it did not feel like the OG Mass Effect. I was like, man, this is a different fucking game. This is not Mass
they
Effect.
should have just licensed it as a different game under a different franchise. I feel like if they did that, it was almost
not
like
the fourth game in the series, though. Is it not?
Andromeda is
No,
technically
it's like
fourth.
100 or 200 years after the third game.
Yeah, it has like
It doesn't-
almost
it's not even.
nothing to do with Shepard or anything that happened in the trilogy. It's
that's my
almost like a
point, like-
spin-off.
But that's my point, though. Isn't it? That's why it's called Andromeda, like not Mass Effect 4.
Mhm.
I mean, it could be considered Mass Effect 4, but when I was reading up on this new Mass Effect that got announced, this is going to be an immediate sequel to the trilogy. So it's almost like they're just wiping
Oh,
the
really?
slate. Yeah, from what I read, we might need to fact check
I mean-
later. But
Oof.
yeah,
How are they gonna do that with that ending though?
see. Well, and this is that's a good question because that kind of segues into what I was going to talk about. And everyone has their own opinion. I was a little disappointed with Mass Effect 3's ending as far as it just didn't. I mean, once you get all the endings and you put them all side to side, they didn't really. The payoff just wasn't as different. Like I guess, like when you make all these different decisions, you build all these different relationships, you end all these different relationships. When I went into Mass Effect 3, I was expecting a bunch of different ways for it to end, different ways for it to happen. And if you've played the games, and Jeff, I'm sure you kind of know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There might be some
No, I
subtle
agree.
differences, but all in all, it's pretty much the fucking same no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
And then I do think they got a lot of backlash for it. They ended up releasing a patch that added a lot of like ending cutscenes and whatnot, but it didn't really like change anything. So something I thought would be interesting was, and again, I could just be dreaming here, but with them doing this remaster, they might now have the opportunity to go back and kind of diverge a lot of those paths, especially since what I read, and I'm trying to find an article here as I'm talking. Can't multitask very well, but from the article I was reading, it seemed like it was going to be a direct sequel to the trilogy. So maybe not as far as like obviously a direct like carry on the story of Shepard, but just
Right.
that same
Like it picks up where
it
3
left off.
leaves off.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Like
that's
I
something
agree
thought
that the ending
interesting.
was kind of shit.
Yeah, especially for
I was not happy with that.
because I mean, even the way 2 ended, like just to give
Oh
a
my
comparison, there
God.
were so many different ways for shit to go down. Obviously, that was the one where it's like you're picking up your squad and building the trust of all your companions to go on the ultimate like suicide like mission, like nobody's expecting to come
Dude,
back.
oh my god.
depending-
I didn't know certain things, certain
No one
decisions would lead to
did.
certain characters
Yeah.
dying, and I was like, are you
Dude.
kidding me? Like,
Dude.
every turn I make, one of my favorite characters was dying, and I'm like, yo, what
Bro.
the fuck is going on?
Bro, when I first played through it, I didn't do any of the, because you know how like each companion has their like loyalty mission or whatever. I didn't
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah.
any of that shit. So like, yeah, I was just speedrunning through it. I was just having a blast, and I guess I just couldn't be bothered. I think I did some of them, but really just whichever ones I was like picking up on the way. Because in my head, I was like, oh, I can do these later. I didn't think
Oh yeah, right.
that they were gonna.
I think the only one I actually did was Miranda's, just because I wanted to boner.
Yep, that's. I mean, same.
But, yeah.
All right. So keep a lookout for that that new Mass Effect. If I could guess, it would probably come out like late 2021, 2022. A lot of games are being set
Dude, yeah.
toward that time.
Yeah.
Wait, so okay, do you think the remaster would come out before the fourth game, or the fourth game before the remaster?
I would hope. Okay,
They would come out around the same time, probably like a month.
I would rather the
before.
remaster first, because if the remaster comes out first, that's immediately going on the channel for me.
Right.
Yeah, I would kind of like the remaster to come out first, just to kind of
Refresh.
just kind of do a refresher, and also it'd be nice to see
Oh, what if they fix the multiplayer in 3 too?
that. That's so funny. That's something I was just thinking about too, because I mean, it wasn't the best, but I did think the multiplayer.
It was okay.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. You know how they did it, and how what you did, and like how you did the little sectors, in the multiplayer, and that affected, how well you were fending off the Reaper invasion in your single player campaign. I thought that was interesting, and I'd like to see it come back, especially because I think it was only after a couple of years. I might be wrong, but I think they just ended up shutting the servers down. I remember.
Yeah, it was dead.
Yeah, I remember. Or, yeah, maybe they didn't shut it down, but it was definitely dead. And I went back to replay them maybe a couple of years ago, and I just wanted to try out the multiplayer. I just could not find any lobbies at all, which sucked, because I did think it was kind of fun, especially too because those were the only ones you could play as the alien races, like the Asari. And
that's
I
right.
think you could play as a Krogan too, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. I know you could definitely play as Asari though, and which I thought was badass. So
I'm sure they have to do the multiplayer in some fashion with the remaster, because I know that'd be a big point for people, especially with 3 and 2. So
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe they'll just do the same thing and just reinitialize maybe some servers for it, which would still be cool, and I would be
I'd still
down
be
to
okay with
to
that.
check it out. Yeah,
it wasn't.
because I feel like the Mass Effect community is just kind of dead right now after Andromeda kind of killed our love for the game.
And it's not only just speaking to the Mass Effect franchise, but that was, BioWare really took a hit off that,
Oh yeah,
and
oh
especially
yeah.
after, not only because Andromeda was definitely a shame, but Anthem was a
Oh
fucking
my God.
disaster. Not only
That's
just for the
right.
gaming
Before
community.
we get to Anthem, well, since it's not really on the notes, but
Let's not go over Anthem too deep, because
Yeah.
that's a
All I
whole
was
can
gonna
of
say-
worms with me.
Yeah, all I was gonna say really is BioWare really needs to nail this. And I
Yeah.
say that as
This
a
needs
fan
to be
of
their comeback.
BioWare. Yeah, I say that as a fan of BioWare and as someone who wants them to succeed. But I don't really think anyone needs to do much research to see how bad Anthem has done. I mean, shit. I think they just listed their shit for like $1 on some
Right.
websites for the PC version, which is ridiculous considering the game's only been out like a couple of years. So I'll leave that at that. But I really do hope they do this Mass Effect trilogy remaster good, and hopefully they're able to do with this new Mass Effect, let's call it Mass Effect 5, they'll be able to do things with this game that they kind of failed to do with Andromeda.
Alright.
I hope
There
so.
you have it, folks. There you have it. I'm gonna blow by this wrist. Rip it with the wrist. I'm gonna blow by this list fairly fast. Here are some of the winners of the Video Game Awards. Surprise, surprise. The Last of Us swept the competition in almost every category. Let me start
I'm
off
not
here.
surprised. I'm
with-
not surprised. I called it before VGAs even came streamed.
Yeah.
I said, watch. I saw Last of Us was nominated for almost every single category. It
And
was
it
like the
won
Death
half
Stranding
of
of
them.
last year. It was literally like Death Stranding last year. I swear to God,
That boy
these are not
Kojima.
biased.
See, I've never really
So,
been a huge, not to say I haven't liked them, But I guess I mean, I have a
It's a
PlayStation.
popularity contest. Like
Yeah.
real gamers don't fucking vote on some of the things that become game of the year. It's just for hype.
Oh no,
Like
no,
people
it's
who
their
actually play
stupid panel of
games,
judges. Yeah.
right? So let me just go down this list for you guys
Yeah. Go
here.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So game of the year went to Last of Us Part 2. Some of the nominations were Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy 7. Okay, so when I go through this list, I'm gonna go through some categories and you guys say yay or nay, and then we move on.
Okay.
Yay or nay to what? Like as far
Yep.
as if we agree or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you, I
Yeah.
guess if we agree.
So yay if you agree with the nomination and how it won, or nay if you don't, and then we'll move on. Game of the year, Last of Us 2.
Nay.
I didn't play
Big
it.
nay.
I didn't play it, so I can all I can really go off of is other people's opinions, and it seemed like it was a bit of a not even a bit, but a lot of mixed reactions, not only from a lot of critics but a lot of gamers too. So yeah, I'd have to say nay on that one. That was kind of like it just put it up there because it has to be there kind of thing.
Best game direction awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. Nominations were Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, The Last of Us Part 2. The Last of Us Part 2 won this category for best game direction. Yay or nay?
Big nay again.
Yeah, I feel like Ghost of Tsushima and even Half-Life Alyx.
Final Fantasy, bro.
Nah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dude, that was it's a remake of a fucking old
Okay,
game that
yes.
completely redid the game.
I completely agree. I completely agree.
I don't really like
but I will say that for pushing games forward, I would argue Half-Life Alyx or Hades.
Yeah.
Because Half-Life Alyx was one of those
Alyx.
VR games that was fully fleshed out and
Yeah.
like was actually very impressive of a game. So
It wasn't just like a little demo. Like it was an
Yes.
actual like full game. Yeah. No, I
yeah,
agree.
and now
That's
if
fair,
Half-Life
that's
Alyx wasn't on here, you know I'm a fucking Final Fantasy stan. That definitely
Yeah.
would have been, there for me. But
Yeah, that's big coming from this guy. I'll
Yeah.
take that. This dude lives.
And plus they released fucking Final Fantasy VII Remake in parts. They didn't even give you the full fucking game.
Oh yeah.
We don't even have the other parts out yet.
Well,
So
yeah, it's
nah,
it's a
bro. I'm
huge ass
sorry.
game,
they
bro.
missed a colon.
I don't give a fuck.
So
I
does
don't
that
care,
mean
bro.
That this could be nominated for another year as well, even if it's a second part. Like that's just.
That is true.
That's just.
I don't.
I won't.
we'll
get
see.
into
can't agree.
details of that, but that's. Put a pin in.
I
that.
can't agree. If you should not win best game direction if your fucking full game isn't even on the whole disc. I'm sorry. Anyway,
Well, okay. The title for best game direction says for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design.
game direction. How do you
What are you
direct a game to not come all on one disc?
Because it's that huge of a game. Like I don't see why
Bro,
you're
I don't
making
wanna
this
hear
point
it.
for no reason. And it has no validity in this.
Okay,
It's argument, but
okay,
whatever.
so
I feel
hold
like
on.
just all these games side to side though, like to me, Half-Life Alyx still just seems to be pushing it more because the VR
Yeah.
market is just kind of riddled with. I mean, I hate to say it, but just like a bunch of like demo kind of games, like ooh, look what you can do here,
Yeah.
like just like this is cool, but that Half-Life Alyx to me just kind of seemed like the first game that not only was a really good VR experience, but was an actual, just like AK said, like a full-fledged game.
Like it's
itself.
here, like
It's-
you have a
yeah.
full experience, like type
This,
of thing.
I feel like Half-Life Alyx is going to be looked at as one of the first full-fledged games in the VR market that helped push VR into mainstream gaming. Like not just for little this is kind of cool kind of things, but actual experience, like the experience of VR. You know what I mean? But that's just my 2 cents.
So a yay or nay? Nay. All right, moving on.
Yeah. Sorry, I give really long answers. I love it.
No, you're good, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's all in good spirit.
Yeah.
Let me see. Best narrative for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. The nominations were 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, indie title, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and The Last of Us Part 2. The winner was The Last of Us Part 2, yay or nay?
Nay.
Nay. Well, I haven't played it, but nay.
I still think it's like just the fact that I mean,
I feel like Ghost of Tsushima should have won that one, to be honest.
like I've watched a lot of gameplay of The Last of Us and of Tsushima. Final Fantasy is a remake, so I can't.
You can't give
put
that a
shit
winner
up
for
there
best
again,
narrative
they
because it's the
didn't-
same
yeah,
story
they
20
didn't
years
rewrite
ago.
it,
So yeah.
But I do just going off of the gameplay that I watched, and also again the critical reaction, like of people playing the game. I feel like there was a lot of people that had mixed feelings about The Last of Us Part 2. Whereas Ghost of Tsushima, I can't say it right. I've heard nothing but good things, and just watching it, it just blew me away. And I wasn't even the one playing it. I just didn't have enough. I'm broke. I can't play every fucking game that comes out. So I either play it or I watch someone else play it on YouTube.
Right.
And I just feel like that Ghost of Tsushima, just out of this whole lineup, should have been the one to win that personally. I'm kind of honestly sad that I don't think Ghost of Tsushima won anything except maybe.
No,
Best
it
We're
won
getting to it.
yeah, it won something.
We're getting to it. That's actually what's up next. Best art direction. So we're on nay for best narrative. Okay. Best art direction for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. Nominations are Final Fantasy VII, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, The Last of Us Part 2. The winner is Ghost of Tsushima. Best art direction. Yay or nay?
I can't say either because I feel like 4 games on here could have won this. So
True.
Yeah.
I mean, Final Fantasy, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and
I feel
Ori
like Hades
should have
would
all
have been-
won this.
Yeah, or
Hades.
All of the art in all 4 of those games is just beautiful and it's stylistic. Well, Last of
Right.
Us is like realism, and that's fine, but I don't know. I mean, I'm glad Last of Us didn't win this. But I feel like
Yeah.
for me personally, it was a hard tie-up between those 4 for this
Yeah.
category. So I mean, yay that Ghost of Tsushima won. So I'll say yay. Fuck it.
Yeah. I feel, especially what you say about Ori, though, because that shit is.
Mm-hmm.
That shit's beautiful. It's a beautiful fucking game. So
Yeah.
I can see why you're on that.
Personally, I would have put either Hades or Ori in there, but I'm not mad at it. It is what it is. We got a couple of useless categories I'm not really gonna go over because I don't really feel like it's that important.
I will say, I was really upset that Doom Eternal did not win the best score in music, because it's been a long time since I got so fucking hyped just playing a game and listening to the soundtrack of me playing a game.
I don't know. It was a toss-up for me between Doom and Final Fantasy because Final Fantasy VII has some banger tracks.
Maybe that's what it is, because I didn't play Final Fantasy, so
They both, either one of them, I wouldn't have mind them winning. So
that's fair.
Final
I mean-
Fantasy always has great music, so I'm not surprised.
That's true.
With that. Yeah, their music
that is
usually
one thing
trumps
they
a lot of
always-
things.
That's one thing they always do really well.
Scrolling.
let's talk about best performance because I have an issue with this category.
Okay, go ahead, Hollow. Go ahead.
So best performance, it was titled awarded to an individual for voice over acting, motion and or performance capture. So Laura Bailey as Abby won from Last of Us Part 2, while we had another Last of Us Part 2 nominee. We had Jin from Ghost of Tsushima was nominated, Hades from Hades, and Miles Morales from Spider-Man. personally, very disagree with this the winner, and I think Miles should have won this like by far, dude. I don't know if you guys watched or played any of this
Yes.
Miles Morales
Yes.
Spider-Man,
Yes.
but his performance throughout the whole DLC was phenomenal, and I don't understand why he didn't win Best Performance, and that just proves to show you, fucking Naughty Dog paid Jeff Keighley or the VGAs, the amount of categories, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm right on you with that. I didn't know if either of y'all have watched or played any of the Spider-Man games, but I watched a lot of Miles Morales gameplay, and I even played the fuck out of the Spider-Man game where Miles comes in every now and again on some missions and towards the end, and like I think there are a lot of good actors in those games, but especially in the Miles Morales standalone, I just thought he did a
oh my
fantastic
God.
job. And I've been,
Yeah.
and this might be a little biased because I've been reading Spider-Man comic books since the Ultimate lineup has been out. So I've been following Miles Morales since he came into rendition as a comic book character. And just to see him, what's his name, Najee Jeter, hopefully I said that right, fill this role, I don't feel like anyone could have done it any better. Like even if someone fills out a role for him in a movie, I'm gonna be judging them side by side to Najee's performance in this video game because that's the closest thing that I can see as perfecting this character in like an acting kind of role. So
I'm not gonna lie. I have been watching some of the Miles Morales game play, and I've gotten pretty far into the game. Um, this motherfucker. I'm not gonna lie. Like, okay, Miles is fire. He's fire. When I first started watching, though, I didn't really like him as much. I guess
okay,
maybe it's just because like I just really wasn't used to like
he's a different
he's
personality than
corny.
Peter
He
Parker.
like yeah,
Yeah,
like he's definitely a different type of
he's definitely the
Spider-Man.
ultra nerd, like the ultra nerd.
Yeah, but it's like it's cool because the more you kind of like get into the story of the game, the more things happen, and
Mm-hmm.
certain things happen, and you start showing his character, and
Watch
it
him
kind of
develop.
it kind of makes you reflect on emotions that you as a human, without no
Mm-hmm.
fucking superpowers, may have just trying to pay bills or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So life is
Even
hard, bro.
even kind of watching him progress and have things happen to him in the original Spider-Man game, I thought was interesting because he probably only had like 20 minutes of like actual screen time in the actual Spider-Man game. Yet
Yeah, I think
he was
altogether.
still one of the
Something
most
like that.
yeah, so it was something like that, but he was still one of the most memorable characters of my playthrough through that.
Yeah.
Not just for the narrative, which I thought was pretty clever how they tied a lot of things together, but
Oh yeah, they had
just the
messages, bro. They had
performance.
gems in that fucking gameplay, boy. They
Mm-hmm.
was speaking facts.
Yep.
So that was Abby. I don't know, Abby. We don't know about you, Abby. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you sus as fuck.
Yeah,
Uh,
big nay on this category.
uh,
What's your vote, by the
games for impact. Blah blah
Snooze,
blah.
skip,
Snooze
skip.
fest.
Yeah, I didn't play any of these. I don't even.
Best ongoing. I
Oh,
want to touch on super quickly, super quickly.
super fast.
Which one?
I'm not up. Best
Okay.
ongoing. I'm not upset that Destiny 2 didn't win. I'm fine with No Man's Sky winning because No Man's Sky
Ooh.
has had the biggest comeback in the gaming history. So I am all for them winning best ongoing because the support that this game has gotten since launch, because I've been with this game since goddamn launch day, and it was awful. It was unplayable. And then I came back like 6 months, a year ago or so, when they were doing like the Beyond update and everything. And oh my god, the game was like eye-opening. Like, oh my god, this is fun. It's space Minecraft. It feels good. Like having like armadas and fleets in the atmosphere of your fucking base was cool. You could now like go into each other's like ships, park in each other's fucking freighters. You could see people in the anomalies. I thought that was like, it was amazing, and then they're constantly working on it too. So it's not done yet, I think. So big props to Hello Games. I'm actually really happy that they won Best Ongoing. I'm not that upset. Bungie has issues with Destiny 2. I don't want to get into, so that's all I wanted to really touch on.
What the fuck is never mind, that's not important. Moving on. I think what we're gonna do here, because we are taking up a little bit of time, we got a couple more topics to go over. I'm gonna just blow over a couple of categories. Best indie game, Hades. Best mobile game, Among Us, which I could agree with that. Sure.
That game.
Yeah, that game's fun.
Best community support game, surprisingly, is Fall Guys.
I've heard nothing but good things about.
Man, fuck that game. I don't give a fuck about Fall Guys, bro.
You just mad because you suck.
It has nothing to do with
Sounds like
sucking,
someone
bro.
who's
That
mad
game
at
is
the
not
game.
fucking interesting. Like, what am I like? Dude, that shit lasted like a week, bro.
I mean, it's the kid. It's a kid's game. In its core,
yeah,
like
it's
it's
just
made
like
for
a
kids.
casual.
Like, that shit came out during the drought, bro. Nobody have nothing to play. That's the only reason why people upvoted.
Yeah,
this shit.
and it was on. I think it blew up as soon as it came out for free on PlayStation Plus too. So I think that was another thing.
Yeah.
Community support, boy. Fortnite that shit, bro. Talking about kids, bro. Fortnite be nigga, what? Anyway, best VR AR game, Half-Life Alyx. I agree.
Haven't played any of them, so yeah.
I've played
Yeah,
Half-Life and I've
being
played
poor.
Squadrons, but I haven't played them in VR.
We gotta get Hoff to play that.
I've played like the other Half-Life games. I haven't played Alex, but
No, I'm talking about Alex. We gotta give Hoff to play Alex. He got the.
oh yeah, he's got the
Quest.
Oculus Quest. Yeah, I've been thinking about getting
Mm. He got to give us an in-depth analysis on the HHA. Best action, Hades. Best action adventure, The Last of Us Part 2.
Whatever.
Best action should have gone to Doom.
I feel
but
like
whatever.
even Fallen Order could have won
Best.
that.
Okay, so Last of Us Part 2
Honestly, though,
was put next to Star Wars Jedi: The Fallen Order, Ori, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ghost, and then Valhalla and Last of Us 1.
any of these besides Valhalla and Last of Us should have
Yeah,
won.
Valhalla was just another
Any
solid
of
game.
them.
I mean, I liked it, but it's. I mean, it's.
Yeah,
It's been the same formula
and
since Origins, really.
Yeah, and it's not changing, and it's still buggy and glitchy, and fuck Ubisoft for ruining one of my favorite fucking franchises in the world.
God damn.
And fuck you, Naughty Dog, for paying the VGAs and making your game better than it really is. Fuck
them in
you.
the ass so hard
I'ma say it.
Wipe the shit off their dick, bro.
I will never ever go back and play Last of Us now because
Yeah.
Oh,
How
just
does
for
your
a
game
nomination? Damn, son. That's
yeah,
how you-
bro, like that's disrespect. Disrespect. Jedi Fallen Order. Do you not understand? Fucking EA literally came out and said a single player Star Wars game will never sell for shit. And then they put it out with Respawn. Respawn, who did Titanfall 2, Titanfall 1, Apex Legends, and then they put out a single player game like Fallen Order that's Soulsborne-esque and Star Wars. Bro, that shit blew
is
up,
fire.
and it is
That is an
amazing, dude. It
for any
is
Star
fire.
Wars fan.
It is one of the best Star Wars games of our
Yeah,
generation.
I've honestly, for a long time, The Force Unleashed was my favorite Star Wars game of all time.
Hell yeah. Fuck is you
But-
talking
Yeah.
about? OG.
But-
Did you? Come on,
Fallen
bro. Come
Order,
with
I
it.
think, really took that over for me. To be honest, I've probably played
Really?
that
Oh
game
yeah,
for
100%,
100%.
100%.
Not just
I gotta
because of the
get- I gotta play
gameplay,
that.
but
It's so
all
much
the,
smoother.
like little nuances, or not nuances, but just the, I don't know, the little story tie-ins, and the fact that you can get a double-bladed lightsaber, which is like the smallest thing, but like
Dude, you can change your lightsaber colors and the hilts.
on New Game Plus. You can get a red lightsaber, and you can. Dude, that's what I did. I walked around as an Inquisitor and fucked everybody up on my second New Game Plus.
Nice.
My New Game Plus came through. Yeah, bro, fuck with the kid. Dude, how they even go into they go into the lore of like, or not the lore, but like they bring the Night Sisters into play, and dude, it's awesome.
Yeah, they tie a lot of continuities into this game because this game is canon to the Star Wars universe. This game counts as part of the stories.
Yep. It's a very, and I thought the acting was. I didn't really like I can't remember his name. Oh, Cal Kestis. I didn't really like him.
Yeah. The main character is very forgettable to be honest, but the narrative around him is really good.
And universe I think they're going to be doing a sequel to that too. I think I saw that somewhere.
The second game's already confirmed.
Okay, so yeah, I thought I did see that somewhere. So that's something I'm going to keep my eye on too, because I want to see where Cal and his buddies wind up next.
Right. Cool. Let me see. I'm going through this list. I mean,
yeah, let's breeze through some of these.
Yeah. So
best RPG.
Oh yeah,
FF7 one. Woo.
Yeah, FF7 best RPG. That's cool. I don't know why Persona 5 didn't win, but you know what? I didn't play the 7 remake, so all right.
We gotta talk about fighting game. This was an awful category.
This shit pissed me off. I don't know who the fuck
the
nominated this shit.
Who the fuck did a game that no one played and no one gave a fuck about got on here?
Which one is that? I don't play fighting games like that. So.
Mortal Kombat. Okay, so let's best fighting game nominations. Grand Blue Fantasy versus. I was waiting for that shit to come out. It came out dead quiet. Grand Blue Fantasy versus Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, Street Fighter 5. Get that shit out of here. One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows. Get that shit out of here.
Or like a game that nobody knows.
Under Night in Birth, EXE. I guess.
When did Fighters
fucking Mortal Kombat? Where the fuck is Dragon Ball Fighters?
Didn't that come out in 2019?
Yeah,
where the fuck is Blaze Blue Cross Tag?
I think Fighters came out in 2019 though. So that could be why.
Mortal Kombat 11 released in 2019.
Oh.
No, this is Mortal Kombat Ultimate though. This is the completed edition.
Fighters came out in 2018.
I guess that makes more sense. I mean, it's still a shit category. Like
that's trash, bro. Because if you're gonna do that, bro, you should. Fighters should still be in the conversation. It's a consistently trending esports game. As much as that fucking game pisses me off, bro. Come on now, like what?
Yeah, but there wasn't a definitive release this year. I think. Like. Because we're still waiting on 2 more DLC characters, I think, before the actual game is completed.
Yeah. Still, this lineup.
It's still lame.
This lineup is One Punch Man? You couldn't fit any other legitimate fighting game? I'm just glad I didn't see My Hero on here. That we would have had some real problems.
I mean, this is worse than the My Hero game.
God damn, really? Because I feel like based off of the gameplay I was watching, that One Punch looked a lot better than that My Hero, especially the newest one that came out.
Really, I've heard the second one was a lot better than the first one, but
they all look like trash.
Yeah, I mean, Bandai Namco's known for making shitty anime games, so
just rushing shit. Y'all need to spend more time on y'all games, bro.
I do feel like you kind of have a sentiment there, because even though I don't play a lot of fighting games, I actually do play Mortal Kombat on the side. I suck at it, but I do kind of play that a little bit. And obviously, I played Fighters with you a bunch of times, and they are consistently releasing like a lot of new characters and shit like that for Fighters. So I don't know why that wouldn't be a nominee for this. Because I don't even play fighting games, but I think Fighters is excellent. Even if you don't like
that, is a top tier fighting game. As much as that game fucking irritates the soul out of me, bro, that's a top tier. If you ask someone, any like fighting game player, like, yo, I'm trying to get into fighting games, what's the best thing I should get into? Dragon Ball Fighters, motherfucking Soul Calibur, maybe Street Fighter. and Tekken.
I was gonna say, didn't
Why?
Tekken or did that come out a couple of years ago? I could have sworn there was a
I
Tekken
No,
7.
mean,
Tekken 7's super old,
Oh,
man.
is
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying,
Ooh,
where the fuck
yeah,
does
you're right.
no
2014.
no person who dedicates no one's main genre for being a fighting game is gonna recommend One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows. Fuck that game and fuck that nomination. Anyway, moving on. Best family game, Animal Crossing. Best sim strategy game, Microsoft Flight
Hey, that shit's
Simulator.
fire. I know someone who
Dude,
plays
it's
it.
coming to Game
It's actually
Pass. I
really
gotta
good.
download it now. I'm gonna play this shit on my Series X, bro.
Yeah, they're releasing that
It's
for
gonna be
the
optimized.
Xbox. I'm not gonna lie. I'm
I'm
Whatever.
gonna
They're
looking
fly
forward to
gonna.
over
it.
our house. It's gonna be funny.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Best sports racing game, Tony Hawk Pro Skater remake 1 and 2.
That
I
was
actually
cool.
do like that.
I like.
I was gonna be mad if
Yeah.
FIFA or 2K got one of
Oh
those.
my! If FIFA or 2K won it, I would have been like,
I'm
oh
honestly
wow, cool.
the only other thing that makes me happy about this is that Madden is nowhere to be found. I would have been happy with even F1 winning this.
Madden's dead. Don't nobody
Tell
buy
that to
Madden.
football fans. But no, I agree. I don't really and see. Really, the only two sports games that I really would like would be FIFA or 2K. But those games have just. I mean, you play any. It's the same thing. Like just year after year after year, just riddled with microtransactions. I can't remember which rendition it was, but when 2K started doing the thing where you had to you would buy a haircut and then instead of being able to just equip the one you previously owned, you had to buy it again. Just all little
Yeah.
shits
Fuck.
like that, just force microtransactions down your fucking throat instead of choosing to further progress the game mechanics. Because I'm a huge basketball fan, so I generally either me or my brother just at some point, even though we both hate the shit they pull, end up buying the basketball games just because we just that's just it's like a guilty pleasure. But no, I do feel like out of all these, I'm glad Pro Skater got it because that was a fantastic fucking remake.
Well deserved.
But I would have even been happy with F1 getting that because those are also some really fantastic games if you're into Formula One or racing or anything like that.
Right.
Which not a lot of people are, but
Yeah. Interesting indeed. Best multiplayer Among Us, content creator of the year, a bunch of pasty faces, except for one, Jay and Lopez.
Oh, you were
Congrats for
talking
being
about
a nominee. Yes, people of the Caucasian persuasion. No disrespect to you, but the lineup is like that almost every year. So, best debut game. This is a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
Phasmophobia, best debut game.
I'm not gonna lie. I've played Phasmophobia with y'all, but I played Carry On too, and I thought Carry On was pretty fun.
I did too.
But Phasmophobia is. There's just not a lot of games that give an experience like that. Not just in terms of creepiness, but how it just ties into the multiplayer co-op facet too. Is just I thought that was a really. I'm very happy they got that because they did a fantastic job. I'm always looking for an opportunity to play that game now. I stopped playing Cyberpunk, and we'll probably get into that later. But
no, we'll get into it soon.
I now look more forward to playing that fucking game, probably more than anything else, other than me starting a new game of Dark Souls. But that's just a personal problem of mine.
Right. Okay. Let me see here. Going on to the try hard and sweats categories. I don't follow esports.
Neither do I. Skip. Skip esports coach.
Skip.
Skip esports event.
Esports
Skip
host,
esports
skip
game. No
esports
one
team,
cares.
and look at
Esports
that, we're done.
host.
Yeah, what
Skip.
the fuck, esports
We're done.
host?
We're done. We're done.
That
That's
was,
it. That's if you want to know our reaction to the VGAs. That's it.
Why
We're
do
done.
hosts have? Hold on.
It's-
Why am I just noticing?
It was trash.
Hosts have
All in all,
usernames.
very
The
underwhelming for the most
machine.
part. Some surprises here and there, but
Yeah,
kind of.
it's the
Kinda
same with
voodoo.
any award
Ew.
show ever, like movies, music.
I agree.
It's rigged. I don't feel.
It was trash.
I don't feel like that shit actually reflects the community.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it's to generate
We only-
sales. That's
We only watch it for the announcements. That's the only reason
Fair.
why I watch
Pretty
it.
much, yeah. The trailers.
fair.
Yeah. All right, and now for our
Well-
controversial.
If before
section of the
just because I think I know where you're gonna get, since we're still talking about VGAs, there were a couple other announcements that I just little things that I wanted to bring up that I thought looked cool. Nothing that's gonna take a lot of time.
Sure.
There was this game called Callisto Protocol that got announced.
Oh, I saw
and
that.
I actually thought was gonna be really cool. I'm a huge Dead Space fan, and when I saw that, that's immediately what I thought of. So I don't think they're even being made remotely by the same company. I think in fact Visceral
Yeah.
put now, which was very sad because Dead Space, I really enjoyed those games. Even the third one, even though that was probably the less received one. I liked all of them. The second one was probably my favorite, but I did like all of them as a whole. The one thing I did think that was interesting too, we might have to fact check this, but I saw somewhere that it's going to be set in the PUBG universe. So yeah,
No, I think that's just because the publisher used to work on PUBG, Crafton.
Oh, okay. So maybe that's what
I
I
don't.
saw.
I could be
Here,
wrong.
let's
I could
see.
be like completely wrong, but I don't think it's in the same
Callisto.
universe.
Here, let's just look at it real quick. Protocol, PUBG. It's like the second thing that comes up.
That sounds
Survival horror game. Hey, let's look at this. PC Gamer Magazine had an article on it. Let's see if I can see what IGN has to say. Okay, so on IGN, written by Joe Scrubbles. I'll throw the link in the Discord. There you go. The new sci-fi horror from the creator of Dead Space is definitely set in the universe of PUBG. That's
What does that
starts.
mean?
I don't know.
What does that
PUBG
mean?
doesn't
Just
really
like
have like a lore to it, so that's what confused me about it. Anyway, we don't have to take a lot of time with that. That was just something that I ran across that I thought was funny. Overall, though, I'm really excited to see more of that because obviously any horror game I'm gonna really like, and especially since it was very reminiscent of Dead Space. Dead Space. I got even more excited. And the only other real announcement, or the only other two announcements that I wanted to bring up, Perfect Dark looked really fucking cool.
Ooh.
I never played the original Perfect Darks, but they were Xbox
you're
exclusives.
lacking.
I know. I've been meaning to for a while, but I think just because like they're like 360 games, I'm like, I don't know if I can.
On
get
that
into it.
64, boy.
But yeah, so they
I've never played them.
So, but it looked really cool, and honestly, seeing that made me want to go back and play them. So that might be something I do in my spare time, just to kind of see what they're about. I've always heard they're really good shooters, but it looked like a really.
Don't
good
play the
shooter.
360 one. Don't play the
Okay,
360
I
one.
won't.
Just like you have to play the
Just
original.
the Perfect
and
Dark.
you have to.
Because I know there's Perfect Dark, which was the
Yeah.
Xbox, and then there was Perfect Dark Zero, which is the 360
No.
rendition.
Yeah, you.
Um,
Whoa.
So that looked really
Hold on.
interesting. And then the only other game, and I haven't really seen a lot of people talking about this, and it might just be because I really like the Evil Dead movies, even though they're kind of cheesy and goofy. But that Evil Dead game looked really fucking cool too. So,
Oh yeah, I was kind of hyped for that. I'm not gonna lie.
So the Evil Dead movies have been around for a while. I know the first one was just kind of like a standard horror movie, and then the second one kind of got more goofy with it, and the third one, Army of Darkness, was just not a mess, but it just kind of took on. It's just craziness. And I know they've come out with several shows and things like that encompassing Evil Dead, and all the lore and everything to it. So it looked to me more not exactly like not dying, like Dead by Daylight, where it's like there's a group of survivors or people fighting against another enemy. So I think how the game is set up is it's like 4-player co-op, and then there's going to be another player on an enemy team that is like working against the other players, but it's more action oriented.
Oh, really? I was gonna say, I thought it was more like Evil Dead, but like COD Zombies.
No, so I think it's kind of like that in a way. It is going to be more action oriented, but I do believe there's at least, if not the whole game, there is at least going to be a mode where one player, I can't remember the name of the demon, but one like the enemy, there will be a player on an enemy team that like takes control of like that demon that's like causing all the mayhem and shit, and works against the team. So I thought that was interesting, and of course it's fucking Evil Dead. You'll get to see Ash Campbell with his fucking hand chainsaw do a bunch of crazy shit. I thought that was interesting. So I just wanted to bring those up. I thought those were pretty cool. Probably under the radar things to look out for, see how they develop. Not really a lot is known about them, but I did get excited when I saw those.
Yeah, okay. Sounds dope. That's what's up. Kind of excited for some of those too. Oh, moving on to the most controversial news and somewhat disappointing of
You don't have to say
2020
somewhat.
going into 2021. It's actually pretty split down the middle, but Cyberpunk 2077, Cyberbug 2077 has spread its virus to every console in next gen known to man on December 10th. Yep. People, this is probably. I remember like last podcast. I think it was the podcast before. We were talking about Cyberpunk, and this is a highly anticipated title.
This game has been in
it's out.
development for
By the
years.
time
It's been marketed.
Yeah, for at least a decade.
4 delays.
Yeah, delays and all that aside, the I think the biggest thing that's bugging a lot of people.
Talk about it.
Okay, well I'll say, well first off I'll also say I've probably
Hold on.
Yeah.
So both of y'all have played the game.
Yes.
You and Hollow have played the game. So you know what I'm saying? Give each other the spotlight and
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Share some knowledge on so first go how you feel about the game. Need room for improvements, all that.
I know you're still playing.
I'll go first.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'll go
Without
first
any
since I'm way behind you. Yeah, without spoilers, I've only got about like 10ish hours in the game. I just started around like Act 2, so yeah, I'm not that deep yet. 10 hours into the game, my impressions are the narrative is actually really good. There are points where there is a lot of talking, and I mean just you're sitting there and they're just talking to you and you're not doing anything, or you're in a car and they're just talking to you, or you're going somewhere and they're just talking to you, and it's like, yeah, I get it, like it's your world building, you need the story building, you need the narrative to kind of get yourself immersed in the game, but it feels like there's a lot of points where I'm not doing anything and people are just like giving me information.
Yeah.
Like just a shit ton of information.
See that. And a game I really like to compare this to, just because they were both made by probably a lot of the same developers and obviously the same publisher, is The Witcher. Because in The Witcher, there are a lot of points, and I know exactly what you mean. Like, it feels like some conversations can just drag on and on and on. And even though I'm still on my first playthrough, I mean, sometimes I just read the subtitles and I just skip. Skip, because I'm like, I just want to get this shit done. I don't want to sit in this fucking car anymore. I don't want to look at your fucking face anymore. I want to play the fucking game. But, you know, something that's interesting to me is even though, because The Witcher does that a lot too. I mean, in fact, I remember there's this one side quest in The Witcher I remember very particularly, and it's about this woman telling you about the side quest revolves around a fucking frying pan. Yet, but it's one of the most interesting side quests in the game, and all they're talking about is a fucking frying pan. You know, and I only bring this comparison because there's a lot of, I feel like the lore in Cyberpunk is really good. I feel like there's a lot of interesting side characters.
Oh yeah, no,
but,
yeah.
It's like, I can't really put my finger on it, but it's just like there are just some moments where that hook fails to catch. You know what I mean? Like to hook you in, or there's just a lull.
Yeah, it almost feels like the hype. It was built up so much that this game was gonna be so freaking fucking cool. I don't even care about cursing. This game is gonna be so fucking cool. Fucking Cyberpunk. Yeah, like the genre of Cyberpunk is saying like fuck you to the system and saying fuck you to the government and all that bullshit. Because that's what punk is saying fuck you to the man. And it just feels like the game falls short of its own title sometimes.
Yeah, I could definitely feel that. And I haven't beaten it yet. I kind of took a break because of just all the bugs and everything. There were a couple quest-breaking bugs that I ran into, so I won't go into the details because I don't want to spoil anything. But I'm kind of just giving CDPR.
Yeah, I know another patch just went on, so I might pick it up soon.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are saying that a lot of people are actually putting the game down until the next big patches that are coming in January and February.
And
I feel like I might do the same because honestly, like the way I haven't spoiled myself with any gameplay story or anything, but I've literally just been looking at how people are posting bugs and glitches. And
so I'll say
this
because how the bugs and everything, it's not just bugs. And the reason I'm getting into this is because I see a lot of people like defending the game, and if you have fun playing it and you don't have any problems with it, great. I'm happy for you. Like, you know, I'm not here to shame anybody or put anybody down for having a good experience. But Jeff, I think you're running on the Series X, are you not? Okay, and I'm running on the Xbox One X. So I'm even with my console. I mean, I run into some. Besides, and I'll get into the bigger bugs, but mainly what I run into are like performance issues, frame rate drops. I
really?
I run a pretty consistently 30, and I wasn't just it being such a
Holy
big
shit.
game. I wasn't expecting anything more than 30. So I you know.
But technically, like, that game is made for your console generation.
And what's interesting about that is because there's a lot of games on the One X, like Red Dead Redemption, like Gears of War, where if you're optimized for the X, there's an options in the settings that allows you to choose like graphic fidelity or performance. So like you pretty much like either higher frames or you want it to look pretty. There's no option for that.
Right.
So and it being a game that was eventually going to be released on the next generation of consoles, I kind of expected that they were probably just going to at least try and lock it in at 30. But what disappoints me is I'm sometimes hitting frames in the teens, especially when I'm driving around in the city. When I'm out in the Badlands and the desert area, I don't really have too many issues. It's just when there's a lot of assets being loaded, I really notice an issue with the frames dropping down really low. I don't really notice a lot of texture issues except for a fuck ton of pop-ins. There are a shit ton of pop-ins. And to keep in mind, I'm playing this on the One X. Okay, so this is the highest tier of the Xbox generation before the Series X and Series S came out. These are the consoles that the game was marketed towards. Even the game that you're running on your Series X is technically for the Xbox One. It's just running on backwards compatibility. So
Yeah, I'm not even running next gen
yeah,
Cyberpunk. I'm
they haven't
running
even
backwards,
they
like
haven't
you
even
said.
released that patch. I don't know when it's coming out. I know originally it was supposed to be coming out in the spring of 2021, but with all the shit that's been going on, I don't know if that's still the case. But either
I
way,
thought it was January
it, I
or January or February.
January and February are they've slotted those for the patches to help with the last gen performance issues. Um, but
Yeah, there's not gonna be any next gen performance stuff, and for
probably
like
I
at
would
least another few
yeah I'd be
months.
surprised if they even slot it for spring. I would imagine
Wow.
just with all the issues that's happening,
Like,
not just the performance issues, but
yeah,
the quest breaking bugs. I'm consistently getting crashes. Like the game crashes probably at least once every hour or two. Yeah,
really, holy
yeah.
shit.
Sometimes I have to hard reset my console just to get it to fucking work. And I've logged in
Right.
about, I don't know if I mentioned this, I'm about 55, 60 hours into the game. I've been taking my time doing a lot of the side quests and everything first, so I'm probably about like halfway into the story, maybe a little bit more. But I've been really taking my time to do all the side quests and everything like that. That's just how I like to play my RPGs. Which brings me to another point too, and I don't. This might just be a me thing. Well, actually, you know what? We'll get to that in a minute because I want to talk about the bugs and shit first. But
Yeah, I want to talk about some of the bugs I
but
encountered as well.
yeah, I mean, I've seen the frame rates, crashes, the pop-in is terrible. Like
Keep
it
in
is.
mind we are at an hour 20.
Okay,
Just so you guys
okay.
know.
Pop-in is terrible. Um, I have had a few quest-breaking bugs, not a lot, but I have had a few. Like just things like characters not appearing, or like you'll be waiting on someone, or you're supposed to be following someone, and that NPC just doesn't fucking do anything. Just shit like that.
I've definitely had quest breaking bugs
Yeah.
before, and it's even on my channel on a couple videos. Like, literally, a quest was just stuck because it told me, like, in the very beginning, this is not really that spoiler, but in the very beginning, you have to go see a doctor, right? I'll keep this very general. You have to go see the Ripper doctor, and to go get an upgrade. I went to go see him, got the upgrade, and then the quest just told me to go back and see him, but there was no new dialogue. There was nothing for me to do
Yeah,
with the
yeah, I've had
doctor,
that happen to
and
me
it
too.
was stuck there until I had to like either die or reset my game, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. I literally couldn't progress in the
Yeah,
story at all.
yeah, that's happened. That's happened to me quite a few times. So I mean, the biggest thing that has annoyed me, I mean, besides the bugs, are all the people defending the game because of the bug. Like, so there's a lot of people like, oh, there are bugs in every game. That's true, but I mean, one, I've been playing video games for years. I bought Skyrim day one. I've bought all the
Right.
Fallouts day one. A lot of Bethesda titles are known for being buggy, right?
Right.
Just a whole bunch of shit. So
Right.
I've seen a lot of stuff. I was able to side steer myself away from Fallout 76, but
Oh my god, I'm so glad I dodged that
yeah.
one.
So I think that is really the only other like big AAA game that I can think of that had such a disastrous launch like this. And it's interesting to me because not only were these two really, really, really buggy launches, um, but they were. It's funny because like at this time, Bethesda was still kind of riding off of and they kind of still are riding off of the success of Skyrim, and so they were being heralded as like, yeah, all the quote unquote gamers are like, oh yeah, you're awesome. They'd never do us wrong. They're totally not like any of the other gaming companies. Um, and then what fucking happens? And I know they've come out with a lot of patches and shit to fix the game and whatnot, but it's interesting to see that, and then to see CDPR is kind of the same thing, except instead of Skyrim, it was The Witcher 3. CDP, and they would even go on Twitter. Like I remember there would be certain things like, we leave the greed to others, and you can trust us. We're your pal, man. We're gonna make sure this thing is ready when it ships out. The CEO there were even tweets of him saying, like, quote, the games run surprisingly well on last gen consoles.
And you heard all the issues that I gave you. That was on the One X. The worst issues, if you still have a base PS4 or base Xbox One console, stay the fuck away from this game. Don't even. It's a mixed bag to me. Like, even without the bugs and stuff on the game itself, but just because of so many of the performance issues, I'd say, yeah, either wait until it is confirmed that all the shit's fixed, or wait until you can get yourself a next-gen console or a higher, better performing gaming PC to play it, if you really want to.
I think the biggest thing that people are just disappointed is because, like we said earlier, this game has been in development for over a decade. A decade, people. That's 10 years.
And y'all still can't get it right.
Well,
exactly.
And what's important to note here too is I don't blame the developers for this, the programmers, the coders.
No, not one bit. It's the crunch and corporate.
Yep. This game was pushed to come out because it was already delayed a couple times. Like when it actually was like getting on the rails, like, oh, this shit's coming out. It got 2 major delays. And this last one, they were probably feeling like if they delayed it again, people would start like withdrawing their pre-orders and everything. And also, they wanted to make sure this game released, just in time for the holidays. Like, people go out buying gifts and such for their kids and whatnot, or for their friends, spouses, what have you, relatives. They wanted to make sure just the game was on the shelf. And it's clear when you see the state the game is in. There's a lot of things I see with the game that just isn't complete, and I don't mean bug wise, I mean like just assets that just are there but are not being utilized. There are sections of the maps that I've run into that are not they were going to do something with it, and they just don't do fucking anything. Like, there are multiple train stations. I don't know about you, Jeff, but I've never
I saw that.
been on a train.
Yeah, there's like a whole asset for like train stations and a whole rail system even in the game in Night City, but there's no trains. You can't use them. The wanted
system is broken. Cops don't even chase you. The assets for the police vehicles are there, but they don't chase you. They literally just spawn behind you in waves. Okay. So it's like, when you think of wanted system, a lot of people think like GTA or Red Dead Redemption. Like, you kill somebody and they'll start chasing after you. And I'm not saying they had to do it exactly like GTA, because there are a one games that have like wanted or bounty systems in them. But there's not one that I've Fallout 4 too. There's not one that I've seen where cops just spawn in front of you. Like, just it's really, really annoying, honestly, and it really breaks the immersion for me, because sometimes I just want to be a dick just to see what happens. I like causing trouble with the cops and everything, and it's not even a difficulty issue. It's just an issue with, I can kill a whole bunch of people if I stand there and just fight all the cops that they're trying to make a standoff with cops. They just keep spawning, endless spawning. But if I get in my car and drive 2 blocks down the road, they don't even try and chase me. It just goes away, and it's like it just never fucking happened. This minor spoiler here. I won't get too much into the context of what happens, but with where you're at, Jeff, you'll know what I'm talking about. So there is this character named Jackie, who's kind of like your companion, and you first meet him at the beginning of the game, and it's 2 things. One, the life paths are useless. Like, after the first 20 minutes of the game, it doesn't fucking matter what life path you chose. There's not even like any stat attributes committed towards anything.
Yeah, and all you get is some achievements if you use their dialogue options.
It's just some little dialogue.
That's what I've noticed.
That really contribute to it. Also, it's like you play for 20 minutes and then there's a whole 6 months later. Well, what about 6 months later? I want to fucking see that shit. Why the fuck are we not doing that? And I can't think of anything else other than it was probably cut at the last minute so they could push it out the door. There was also this section, and this is why I bring up Jackie. I won't go too much into the context of it, but It's kind of like a side mission, but it's like you talk to Jackie's mother after some things happen in the game, and it's like she's talking to you as if like, and your character V is speaking to her as if like y'all known each other for a long time. She's like, oh hey, how are you? Da, da, da. All this and that. It's like you feel like you should care about this character, but you don't fucking know anything about her. Like I don't know. It was really baffling, and there are a lot of instances like that in the game. I just used that one in particular because it's like it really seems like a lot of shit was cut out at the last minute, content-wise, just to be able to push it out.
I'm sure it was.
You know what I mean? And I don't know.
Yeah.
I know a lot of these bugs and performance issues can be fixed over time, but something I'm curious to see is like once all the bugs are fixed, once everything is patched, and everyone is able to look at this game from beginning, middle, finish, and I think a lot of people are gonna see
Play it as it was intended.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are gonna see that there was a lot of shit that was supposed to be in this game that isn't. You know what I mean? And I'm not coming at this. I feel like I had pretty manageable expectations with the game. I did think this was going to be a great RPG. I didn't think it was going to be anything like some of these horny fucking little kids on the internet were like, oh, I'm going to get a huge 12-inch robot dick and go and fuck every prostitute I find and, do all this other crazy nonsense. But I was expecting a good RPG, something similar to The Witcher. You know what I mean? But the more and more I play the game and the more I do the side quests and even the story, I mean, sure, there's some things with like choice and consequence, but I don't really feel like that happens too much, at least to the extent of what was being advertised or what was being marketed to me. Because when I hear
it feels somewhat linear.
Hmm?
It feels somewhat linear.
Yeah, like I feel like this is more of an action adventure with RPG elements, more akin to like Valhalla, for example. Like how it's a linear game, but there are like skill trees and like some dialogue choices that have like minor changes in the story or like cutscenes or whatever. That's really all. That's really all I get from this game. I don't really feel like, because when I first played this, I like the RPGs, or what I consider an RPG anyway, is something you can, like, you start a game, you start progressing towards a certain build, or, making a lot of different choices, and then once that playthrough is finished, you go back, you start again, do different choices, start a different build, and it's a different experience. But the more I play this game and the more I've read about like how other people's experiences are and seen other people's playthroughs, I feel like even if I go and make a different character, a different gender, a different life path, it's pretty much going to be the exact same fucking experience. Which I honestly, that was the most disappointing thing to me personally, because I don't feel like this is a true RPG. I feel like Deus Ex Human Revolution, or whatever it's called, I can't remember, that came out in like 2010, is more of a dystopia, like futuristic kind of RPG than this game is, and that game's fucking 10 years old, like with actual choices and consequences, with skill trees and all that kind of thing. I feel like that game did more for me as far as putting me in that kind of atmosphere than this game has. Albeit, there are some really fun moments in this game. I really like the gameplay. I love the gunplay. I love the melee system. I love the hacking things you can do. Like it's like almost like spell casting. Almost it's like a like you're hacking into people and doing little. I can't remember what it's called. Quick hacks, I think, where it's like in combat you press a button and you can like have someone like overheat in the middle of battle or some shit like that. I think that's really cool, but really the combat aside, I don't really think there's going to be a lot of reason for me to play the game over again, personally. Sorry, I know I took a lot of time talking about that, but there's just been a lot about this game.
No, I agree. I think once I play through it once, I don't think I'll do another run through because honestly, like you said, it really doesn't feel like your choices or actions have too many consequences in the game. It feels like you're just playing through the story as V, which is fine, and you know I'm down for a new narrative and stuff. But it just doesn't have that like punk feel or like yeah like I don't know.
It I don't know. With just to put my little 2 cents in about it, it sounds like because you know I'm as of recently I've been playing Final Fantasy 15. I got the Royal Edition for the holidays or whatever. So you know I'm balling out. But it kind of reminds me of yeah. It reminds me of 15 where you have like choices, but they don't really mean shit. It's just like more XP. You literally get more XP depending on what you pick. Like, and it's like a difference between like what 500 to like 200 or something.
Yeah.
50 or something. Some
The
shit.
thing is, though,
So you know,
I think, you know, because with like Final Fantasy, and I know each game is kind of its own thing, but there's a similar mechanic and formula to it. So I don't think people like play Final Fantasy to like make a whole bunch of different choices and this and that. It's more so like from 15, from what I've played, it's like a lot of like going on hunts.
Yeah, it's more for the gameplay.
You know what I mean? It's going on hunts.
well, yeah, they integrated that like, but that's the thing. They give you a false sense of that. No, normally a Final Fantasy player, we don't look for that, but it's just kind of weird to have that in a Final Fantasy game and then not even tell you, you know what I'm saying? Like it just happens and you don't realize that affects, you know, the gameplay until you literally beat the game. And then you're just like, wait, what? New game plus? But didn't I say I wanted to do this and that?
By
It's
the
just
way,
like,
there is no new game plus for Cyberpunk as of yet.
oh.
Nope.
But
Another reason not to refund it.
And the online ain't even dropped with the single player.
and another, it's funny you bring up online because I was reading an article from, it was either Forbes or the New York Times. It was like a debate article, but it was an interesting thought. How just like how the missions and everything are set up, because they were talking about bringing a multiplayer component to Cyberpunk, but this guy was almost saying he was predicting, I guess would be the best word, that they're going to go a route similar to what Rockstar did with GTA Online, as far as like the different side activities and missions and things like that.
Oh my god, heists and...
Well, not even heists, but like races. There are assassinations, you know, there's things like that, which personally, I didn't even really care about the multiplayer component, but seeing all these like issues with the like false like choice consequence.
The multiplayer is gonna be a mess.
I feel like performance-wise too, I feel like that shit's gonna be terrible. But I don't know, man.
Don't you motherfuckers sell it like y'all trying to do Red Dead Online. Don't do it.
Yeah,
See
that's a
Project
whole
Red.
other. That's a whole other discussion. But yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I could talk about that whole debacle for hours.
Don't repackage that shit. Boy, you already accepting the refunds across the board, and that shit got removed from the PlayStation store. Don't do it.
And the Xbox store.
Oh, did it get removed from the Xbox store too? I thought it was just at Sony.
Can't buy
it
that
got
shit.
removed everywhere online.
Interesting.
You can only get it physically, I think. That's why I bought mine physically.
I have mine digitally.
Just in case.
I don't know. See, I think if you, I think if you bought it though, you can, because like.
If you bought it, you're fine.
Oh yeah, that's right,
So-
right. Yeah, you can get a refund.
You're fine, yeah.
Well, I think if you still have it installed, like you can still play it. I think you just can't buy it. Like you can't download it.
Yeah.
But
You
I mean,
just can't
even
download it.
if I can't play it after they took it down, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna get a fucking refund. I was just kind of sticking it out just to, because I was still able
That's
to
what I'm
run
kind
it
of
pretty
doing.
fairly well. Before 1.04 dropped, it was a fucking mess. I couldn't even get through the tutorial. But the 1.04 and 1.05 stabilized it enough to where I could kind of play through it. And after that, really the biggest issues, besides a few quest-breaking bugs. It was really just the frame rates and the crashes that were getting me. So, but again, that was me on the One X, so I can't even imagine. I heard the PS4 base console was getting it the worst. But yeah, you talking about getting this shit getting delisted is something else. I've never seen that happen, ever, with a AAA
Yeah, I've never
game.
seen that.
I've never seen that happen. Not without any, the only other.
Fucking Anthem is
I-
still on the
yeah.
Microsoft and PlayStation
Yeah.
Store, and that game is a pile of
Yeah.
garbage.
And apparently things have gotten so bad as well on CDPR's end. And by the way, if people think that all this backlash and anything is going to hurt CDPR, they've already made their money back plus some, just based on the pre-orders alone of the game.
Off of hype, but you gotta understand.
Even
like,
with all the
the
refunds
servers
and everything, they're not hurting. from
keeping
this.
these servers.
I mean, their reputation, absolutely. But financially, I know their stocks dipped about 42% after all this
And their
happened.
reputation.
The reputation went to shit. They got exposed for it's ironic too because a lot of the game is like corporations
Ironic.
taking advantage of consumers and selling false products and shit like that. And to me, and again, I don't put this on the developers. I don't put this on the people that actually made the game. But as far as the upper level management goes, the leaders, they fucked us. They fucked the consumers, and they fucked their teams over by crunch, by cutting content, and making the decision to push this game way too soon. And I'm sure there's a lot more that goes into that, but just based off of everything that I've been reading and everything that I've been seeing, that's kind of the gist that I've gotten. Especially too now that I know
Ooh.
Jeff brought this up in one of the notes that he sent over, and I'd seen this too, that there are actually two firms that are representing
Yeah,
investors.
two of the investors are suing.
Yeah,
CDPR.
they're suing them for false advertising because this game was basically sold on the false pretense that these games would run on last gen. I mean, shit, there were Cyberpunk themed Xbox One consoles that were shipped with the game, like as limited edition consoles.
That can't even
can't
run the
play
fucking game.
They didn't even advertise that shit.
They
over
did.
here. I ain't seen
And
nothing
like
about
I
that
said,
till
the
last minute.
CEO of CD Projekt Red, I can't remember his name, he had several tweets like before the game, like when the game was up and coming, about to release. He was saying like, "Oh, this game runs surprisingly well on last gen consoles." I mean, that's what this game was marketed for. That's what this game was sold for. Not only that, but they also found out that like when they were showing gameplay footage, quote unquote, for PS4,
It was all PC.
and well, it was actually it was like on PC or it was on the PS5 or Series X. So it wasn't. They never actually recorded anything on the base consoles. It was either on the next gen consoles or on the PC, but they put it out and labeled it as like Xbox One and PS4 gameplay, which that could that and it is technically false advertising. When you start putting things out there like that, and I think that's why this backlash has gotten so bad, at least on the legal side of things, because they're actually because whenever a game is released and it's really buggy or it's just a piece of shit, I mean, you always hear that like, oh, there's a class action being filed or whatever, this and that. But I think this situation is a little bit more different because with all these things being considered of you marketed this game for this hardware and this hardware cannot run it at all. That kind of gives a little bit more gravity, a little bit more weight to these cases because they basically lied and said about the state of the game, not only in terms of the bugs, but just as far as the performance issues that these consoles are having. And there was something else I was going to say to you. Oh, and this doesn't really pertain to that, but something else I thought was funny. When all this started happening, I remember all on Twitter and all on Reddit, people coming in complaining we're getting, shot down, but all these, CDPR dick-sucking fanboys who were like, oh, well, that's what you know, what do you expect running games on 7-year-old hardware? But another big bug that popped up within the last couple weeks, I think it's been patched now, to my knowledge, but it was primarily affecting PC users, was if your save data exceeded 8 megabytes, then all your save files got corrupted.
Bitch, what?
I think that was on all platforms.
Was it?
actually.
Okay, I remember seeing.
But it did get just patched, so it's no longer an
Yeah.
issue anymore.
God.
But
So
it literally like a few days ago was patched.
Okay, so it got patched, but I mean, seriously, 8 megabytes?
That's still
Imagine having to not only track your in-game time, but your fucking file size.
And what was crazy was when this was going on, because what was causing the issues were people picking up a lot of loot, like weapons, and the loot system also. I mean, I don't really care for either. I don't like. It almost is very Borderlands-esque as far as like just dropping guns, and, you know, doing all this and that. Where I kind of, and this might have just been a creative choice, but just my own critique. I personally would have liked it better if there were less guns that I got to personalize, and armor too, because I feel like my dude just looks like a hobo all the fucking time. There's no transmog system
Yeah,
to you know, keep with cosmetics. I mean, you know, I do think the designs and shit are cool. Don't get me wrong. I do think all the weapons and the different characteristics of the weapons are cool. But I mean, I'm cycling shit out as if I'm playing fucking Borderlands, like for the armor and for the weapons. But what was causing the save data file corruption were people having too much loot, quote unquote. And CDPR, before they sent out the patch, were telling people stop looting. So, stop playing the game.
Right.
It was a mess, man. Seeing that and all those threads, it honestly, there were a lot of admins and moderators on a lot of these forums that were like almost giving like an attitude to the people complaining, as if like this is just the way the game is. In fact, I think one of them actually said that. I'd have to find the specific forum that I saw that on. And I don't know if they were actually employed by CDPR or if they might have just been a third party moderating the forums for them. But I don't know, man. It was just this has just been a fucking mess from the get-go, and I kind of feel like I got stifled by it. I mean, I'm still playing the game. I do see a lot of things in the game that it looks like the developers and programmers took a lot of time, you know, a lot of heart and soul into making, such as, you know, the character designs. I do think all the voice acting and everything is pretty good for the most part. And the narrative is actually really good. I do like the story a lot. I think it's really interesting.
Right.
But, it's just such a mixed bag, dude. It's just such a fucking mixed bag. I can't really see.
Well, before we get into any more of the detail, I mean, I guess we can all chop it up to say that I feel like at its core, it's a good game. No one's arguing it's necessarily a bad game, but they just got a lot of stuff to work out with like the technical aspect of the game.
I could agree with that.
If we can agree on that.
I can agree with that.
Okay. Dub.
Yeah, sorry. I know. I kind of just went on like just talking nonstop for a while there, but there's just
there's a fucking lot to talk about with fucking Cyberpunk.
Yeah, it's been the news
been a rough start.
On fire.
I don't want to seem like I'm taking over, you know what I mean? Like fucking.
No. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You with the Alliance, bro. You good? I mean that's we're currently at an hour 48.
I know y'all want to talk about
we could
Ruby,
do we have time for.
I mean, unless y'all want to save that for another one, because there were a couple other things like Rogue and the KFC console.
The KFC. I mean, if you want to talk about the KFC combo, we can make that the last
All
topic,
right.
and
I
then
mean,
we
do you want
can.
to have this episode run to 2 hours though? Because
It's
that's.
already about to be 2 hours. It's an hour for
I
you.
mean,
I'm just thinking about me rendering this. This
Oh
is
yeah. I mean, we can go ahead and cut it
okay.
off and
Well,
save that shit for another episode. Because I'm sure,
all right.
you know,
Well,
whatever, or if y'all even want to have me back or whatever y'all want to do, there'll be more shit to talk
bro,
about.
everybody welcome.
Yeah, of
Everybody
course,
welcome
bro.
to the HHA, bro. If you in the Discord, you welcome, bro. You in the server. You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir. You brothers out here. But all right. Well, I guess that is all that we we had plenty of other stuff on our notes, but we
Yeah.
kind of hit some different lengths. We do apologize. It's just a lot has been going on in
I
the
like to
world,
talk. I'm
especially
sorry.
with
I literally just like to
gaming.
hear the sound of my voice sometimes.
It's
I
a
don't know.
podcast. You're supposed
Yeah.
to talk. Ain't nobody mad at you for
Yeah,
talking.
we'll probably be doing a next episode pretty soon into the new year,
Yeah.
so
Right. So
we'll touch on a lot of
Well,
more recent topics on that episode.
right. We also got some anime news and things that we didn't necessarily get to. Oh my God, Evangelion. But that's a different one. That's a different one for the next
here,
podcast.
so
Uh,
I do have one question since it's like the end of the year and we were like going over the VGAs and everything. In y'all's opinion, just and it doesn't have to like just overall, what has been your personal game of the year this
oh,
Does it have to be a game that came out this year?
we
Or
already
just
we already
whenever?
went over this on the.
Oh, did y'all already do this kind of thing?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean we
okay,
can
never
do it
mind.
real
I mean, I
briefly,
just thought it
but
would be a fun thing to ask, like with the theme and everything.
no, you straight. Mine was Persona
Oh, how about
5.
this? How about this instead? Since it's the end of a decade again, why don't we do our best like favorite game of the decade?
Of the decade.
The last 10 years.
When did
Let me see what hours I've logged in the most. Hold on.
damn.
I mean, I already know mine, so I'll go ahead and go first since it's probably the game I've logged the most hours in my life, and that'll be Destiny 2. Um it's not in a great place currently as we're talking about this. But Destiny 2 in a larger picture for me, and I'll try to keep this as brief as possible. It really has kind of changed my life because I've met a lot of people through that game. I've been a part of so many different communities and clans, and like honestly, starting off playing Destiny, I was a solo player. I really didn't have any friends. I had maybe one or two people I knew from IRL that played the game, and then we'd play together, and that was pretty much it. And it wasn't until I kind of stepped out of my comfort zone and like started going on like LFGs and stuff, and then I found more people to get into, and now I'm in a really cool clan. I've met a lot of really great friends, and we're still friends and everything like that. So while the content might be like kind of dry, and I do get burnt out on the game, but I think that's fair for any ongoing game.
Yeah, any
Right.
live service is gonna have its.
I would say between the narrative and the gunplay, like the game, it's my game of the decade for me. But Destiny 1 and 2, I would say together. They have to be together.
Okay.
Destiny
I feel
franchise.
that because I mean they are pretty much. I mean, not talking shit or anything, but they are very similar just in terms of mechanics and things like that. So. Okay.
I mean,
yeah, somewhat.
I think it's okay. So I can't. I don't think it's. It wouldn't be right for me to just nominate one title. Um, I would say I have two, and that would be Final Fantasy 15 and then Persona 5. I say Final Fantasy 15 because, like I stated earlier, I got the Royal Edition for Final Fantasy 15 on the holidays, and oh my God, I haven't even touched. So just for people who are listening to know, I beat 15 twice already, like
Oh, okay.
in the
So you
past,
were.
like when it came out. So I've beaten it twice over, and I did the new game plus, but now I'm playing it with all the DLC. and I haven't even touched the DLC yet. You know, as far as in like the episodes for each character and stuff. But like, bruh, I don't know why I totally like push this to the back of my mind. Maybe they're just because like some cool games have come out and it's been some time since 15 came out. Because I mean, 15 when 15 dropped, it dropped, but it didn't hit a lot of it really it split the community down the middle, the Final Fantasy community, because it was like they purposely made the game so newer people could get into it, and also like people who
That's
were
even on the
longtime
title
fans of
screen.
it.
It's like this is a game made for newcomers and veterans
Yeah,
alike.
but it's like it didn't hit the vets the right way because they didn't do certain things right, and it didn't hit newer people the right way because there was a disconnect with the world and like who certain people were.
Yeah,
So it was like,
I could say that as a
um,
newcomer. I felt like that. I felt like there was a lot of shit that I didn't know that I should have known. It was really weird. It took me a
yeah,
couple times getting into that game before I really got into it.
yeah. So it was a very pleasant experience. So that's why I say, definitely Final Fantasy 15 and Persona 5 are my two top games of the decade, JRPGs.
I'd say I had to think about it for a minute, but I think my game of the decade, in all honesty, would probably be Dying Light.
Of the decade, sir?
Yeah. So there's just not a lot of good.
You're not gonna say oh my god, what was that game? No, that was before. That was
I'm trying to
no,
think.
no.
I tried not to think of like big shit like
What was
Skyrim.
Civilization?
Yeah, I like
Didn't you like
Civilization. I
Civilization?
do really like Civilization, and I think that game is fire. But Dying Light to me just kind of took me by surprise. It was really slept on. I feel like I don't feel like a lot of
Very.
people were talking about it. I mean, even now, I think more people are talking about it because of the sequel that's coming out, and because of all the updates and everything that have come throughout the years, like the following DLC. But I've been playing this shit since like it dropped, and it wasn't even really like I was following it. I'm a slut for zombie and horror games, and I saw this, and, I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool. And I've beaten the game so many fucking times. I've gone through New Game Plus playthroughs. I've played all the DLC, just all the crazy. I mean, it aside from it just being an amazing zombie game, it's also an amazing action game with fantastic melee mechanics. There's some like just the fact that I can drop kick a zombie off of a roof, and I can also make a samurai sword that not only sets zombies on fire but also electrocutes them at the same time. I mean, it's fucking crazy, bro. Like, I feel like Dying Light is the ultimate like zombie survivor. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's not exactly a goofy game either. It's like it just hits it right in the sweet spot of just craziness and horror, because there's also I like the mechanic of once the sun goes down and it gets dark and everything, it's like, oh shit.
Right.
And also the co-op, drop in drop out co-op is has made it very worthwhile. I basically bullied Javier and Paul into getting this game just so that I could play with them, and I know Javier has really enjoyed it as well. And it's almost like a completely different. I mean, of course, the story doesn't change or anything, but just when you play with someone else, it's like a different experience. Going through the shit, so that'd probably be mine personally.
And there you have it, folks. Our top games of the decade to close this year out. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up
sorry,
here.
Jeff.
If you guys,
It's fine.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna try to get this up before the new year hits.
Yeah. I'll help
It'll
you.
probably the latest it'll go up is the 31st.
I'll help you. I'll help you annotate if but all right. But to wrap this one up, this has been the Hidden Hueco Academy, aka the HHA, and thank you for joining us on episode 6 of the podcast. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clap it up, everybody. Clap it up. Play little claps. Yeah. Awesome. And if you enjoyed the podcast, please consider supporting the channel by liking, commenting, sharing, or subscribing. We really appreciate the subscribe button. Just to, keep the motivation going, and it really helps us, make us want to get these out sooner and as fast as possible. And we, like to entertain y'all. So it's always a good time. We have good discussions, and it's chill. It's a win-win situation. So we appreciate you guys for listening in on us. Any closing statements from you, gentlemen?
Fuck Naughty Dog.
Fuck Naughty Dog.
Goddamn.
Honestly, fuck hard.
Goddamn. Listen, fuck Mortal Kombat. I don't ever want to see that shit win fucking Fighter
fuck
of the
the
Year.
VGAs in general.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 11 at that. 2019 title. I don't want to see that shit win nothing next year. I don't want to see it win nothing. But we out here. Bye.
Also, yeah. Later.